Hello everyone, this is Christine Wallace again, and I am going to show you how to make a carnation. Now I am going to do two things I don't normally do with this carnation. Firstly, this is going to be a quick flower, which is a bit of out of character for me, but I just thought why not? Why not to try and tie in a flower in about half an hour instead of several hours or more, which is what I normally do. And also I'm going to use the same paint to tint the clay and then also to highlight it, which is another thing I don't normally do, but I just wanted to try it and see if this less dramatic approach would work. So here I'm making a variation of an umbrella hook. This flower carnation, it has quite a narrow neck, so I'm going to keep it nice and narrow, just like so, although it's going to be strong. Now obviously this flower is nice and light and quite small, so I don't need an umbrella hook, but I just wanted to show you how to make an umbrella hook for a slightly different shape. In general indulge myself with another not necessarily necessary an umbrella hook to hook my flower on. So here, this little tool, you have a very similar tool in Sugarcraft sets, and this one I think is a clay set, but you will see the Sugarcraft set one featuring a little bit later in this video. And just as you have it ready, you can gather it up just like so, and it's going to take you hardly any time. So major cutting corners here. See what's gonna happen with it. Obviously with this one you don't need to wire it, you really don't. You could put this middle onto a toothpick, and then this toothpick could just very nicely go straight into a cake. Also, a friend of mine has mentioned this gadget, if that's the word, to use. It's a liquid where you immerse your wire and then it could go straight into a cake, and it's perfectly fine. And it seems very scientific and quite amazing. So thank you, Jackie. Did anyone use this liquid? How does it work? This is quite fascinating, really. Anyway, so this is the next layer, just finishing a layer or two of your carnation, layer or two if you want to make a size bigger. And what I found is by layering your carnation just upwards in one big line, it stopped kind of spreading. It was going up faster than it was spreading, so I just thought I'd do something like this. And yeah, it seemed to have worked. You could do it seemed to kind of need two halves for this size, or you could do another two halves, perhaps slightly bigger if you want a bigger carnation. And what can I say? I can't say I am won over by this very quick design and quick way of making flowers, but it certainly is quick, just as it says in the tin. So I don't know, it's quite commercial, that's for sure. And if someone wants a quick cake and doesn't want to pay too much, then by all means, maybe this is the way to go. Obviously, I am doing this demo in cold porcelain, but for something like this, you would need sugar paste, edible glue, and so on, because obviously this kind of a flower would get really close and personal with your cake. So yeah, don't use cold porcelain for something like this. And again, here I'm using a lid, it's a glue lid of all things. So for sugar paste, just use one of those piping tips, a very wide cupcake piping tip, the round size. That's what I normally would use, except I couldn't be bothered to go and look for one, or just whatever you would make work for this purpose, you know. So another thing I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to use less glue than I normally would. Throughout this video I'm using cold porcelain clay called Fleur. Some of you have had a chance to work with it during the lesson the other day, chrysanthemum lesson, and I think it was quite unanimous. Everyone loved this clay. It ticks a lot of boxes across cold porcelain properties range, and as you could see here, it's very malleable and it molds into shapes very easily. So here, if I cut off the excess, the seams would kind of reseal themselves very easily, providing your clay is fresh enough. And I really like that. I think with sugar, all these things are not as easily achievable, which is obviously a disadvantage of sugar as medium, in my opinion. Now here, by all means, go and get yourself a little cutter for the autocalics, but yeah, I'm trying to do a very quick flower here, so I decided to cut down on looking for a suitable cutter, so I'm just improvising. But yeah, find yourself a cutter or just fold a little strip just like I did. It seemed to have worked, and yeah, you're good to go yet again. So here, just as I promised, mentioning of the paints that I've used, did you know that some of these paints, the same make, they could be see-through or totally cover whatever it is that you're covering with them. Interesting, hey? I'm going to be doing a video on paints and how to use them, and just generally relaying some of the research that I've been doing. Some of you very helpfully sent me some information in as well. So yeah, make sure you subscribe and stay tuned in if you like that kind of thing about flowers, and in particular about using cold porcelain. And so now I'm just using those paints to tone my flower a little bit. Just give it a little bit of a feel, just a 3D feel. And obviously this is not something you want to be doing if you strictly following the quick flower philosophy, but clearly I couldn't stick to it. So if you wanted to make your flower a really quick one, obviously don't include any of this. So as you could see here, I am working from outside inwards. I think it's a nice technique that works really well for carnation and how its own patterns show up. And so here I'm trying to add kind of even strokes throughout the flower. I'm not all that keen on the same tone for the background and the highlight, so it was counterintuitive for me, and it seems I've been right about that. But I would still leave the background a bit lighter. I tried it, it didn't work, at least now I know. And I'm going to show you what this flower looks like in a daylight. I think it looks actually quite nice. Do I like the fast flowers? I don't know. What do you think? Drop me a line. And other than that, have a lovely weekend and I'll see you next week.